My life would not have been possible right now if it was not for Imperial. Being very frank, I hated engineering, computer engineering precisely. One of my friend's father, he said to me, if you excel in something that you don't like, think about what you will do in something that you really like.
How did you pivot from engineering to an MIM? What was your reason of doing it? Did you do something in the middle? What was your motivation that led you to Imperial?
There were multiple reasons. Number one reason is I wanted to learn about business. I wanted to be in the city of business, which is London. Chanakya has said this again. You're surrounded by people who are actually building things, who are actually coming from families who have built things. So they're the best role models in that time for you to learn what you want to do in life. What did Imperial give me? I think it was access. 90% of UK prime ministers are coming from that degree, that one single degree. Why? It's just the network that they have.
Yeah.
So anyone who is right now, if let's say I am doing the PPE program, I know that 20 years down there would be a prime minister of UK from that
Who's my
course.
friend.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the access.
Hi guys, I'm Vani Dugal. I'm the co-founder of UniAdvise and a London Business School grad.
Hey, I'm Anya, and I went to London Business School for a master's as well. And since then, we have been working towards building UniAdvise. And with us, we have Ajitesh Gupta today, who is doing many things, and I'll just hand it over to him to discuss whatever he is doing.
I think first of all, it's an absolute honor to be here. Thank you for considering me. About me, so I'm a Delhi boy, born and brought up here. Born in a family of bureaucrats and politicians. No business background at all, but I'll come to that later. I went to a school called Delhi Public School Vasant Kunj, and then I took the leap to go to University of Edinburgh, did computer engineering, which I never intended to do. I was always a JE aspirant, preparing for 6 years since grade 6th and busting my butt in those classes from 7 in the morning till 12 in the night, but never gave the JE exam. Look at the irony. But irrespective, I went to University of Edinburgh, did computer engineering there, then went to Imperial College of London, stayed after my undergrad, and did masters in management with a finance specialism. And on the side, in terms of my work ex, I have juggled a lot. Not that I want to flex it, but it's just I was very fickle-minded. I did investment banking at Deutsche Bank. I was a quant product analyst at Varun Beverages. I was a strategy consultant at Bentley Systems, financial analyst at Innovate, and what else did I do?
Think.
Huh? I was also at Lankit in a very computer science oriented manner. Vector Capital was a place where I did two roles, which is totally different. So I was a software tester for 1 year. I did part time there, and then I was a derivative market analyst. And otherwise, right now, I'm the co-founder and CEO of a company called Crowd. What does it do? It's democratizing financial discussions. We say that we are a social media platform for investors and traders, and we are growing it in India and scaling it here. But we'll get to the roots of Crowd later.
Yeah, I really want to understand.
Yeah,
how that
and
works.
otherwise, I am also the co-founding member of Plaksha University, and I run two NGOs. I love cooking. I have two dogs, and I'm a black belt 410 holder in Taekwondo, state level pistol shooter 10 meters, represented Delhi few years back. So
Okay,
that's
I
about me.
think- Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a lot of
How do,
information.
you, how do you find the time to do all of these things?
I think because of parents who don't get satisfied with you at all.
Okay.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think
Now
that's
things
Sounds
got
tough.
intense.
I think therapy. We're starting with therapy.
But you know, it's not that. I think my parents have been the biggest inspiration for me because they've told me the limit that you have is limitless. So keep pushing
Right.
yourself. And the notion is that don't waste time. It's like whenever I had summer breaks, I was always interning. I was always working somewhere, and that built that habit, and that built that uh, कहते हैं that this curiosity to learn as much as you can. Like one thing I've learned is I always say this. So Chanakya said आपकी ज़िंदगी बहुत छोटी है सब कुछ खुद अनुभव करने के लिए इसलिए दूसरों के अनुभवों से सीखो. So when I work in diverse fields, I'm basically learning about different people, how they have built different things. So for me, it's just like I'm building my encyclopedia of life, and which helps me sooner or later.
Right.
So that's my thought process to keep going, keep working.
And I think it must have started, like you said, sixth grade. You were
Yeah.
already prepping for JE. I mean, that's quite intense. So probably started back then. So
Yes.
credit to your parents for sure.
Absolutely.
And then how did you end up in Edinburgh? I think you mentioned that you
Yeah.
were fully working towards JE, and then how did that pivot
So,
happen?
Edinburgh, it's a very funny story. So, was always a JE aspirant. 12th grade, there's anxiety building up that
Yeah.
boards are रहे हैं, कहाँ एडमिशन होगा, मार्क्स आएंगे कि नहीं आएंगे. So होता क्या है, बैकअप, अब क्या करें. So my profile in terms of my extracurriculars was fine. And one of my very dear friends, so we used to go to the same English tuition, and she got into UAL, University of Arts
Yeah.
London, and she got her admission 6 or 7 months before the board examinations. Like हमारे टाइम पे तो मई में होते थे, and उसके नवंबर दिसंबर में ऑफर आ गया. And I was like, यार इतनी मतलब she was bawling then, like I have the admission, अब मैं क्या करूँ. And like, yeah, listen, can I have something like that too? Then she was like, you have a good profile, why don't you apply? And I was like, okay, let's apply. So she helped me there, and I applied to like 5 colleges in UK, UCAS के through जो होता है.
Right.
Then few in Canada, few in Hong Kong. Luckily got into big ones, and then finally chose University of Edinburgh. And by Jan only, 2 months later, I got the
What a
admission.
life.
So then I was stress free. I'm like, मैं क्या करूँ? And then my focus completely went to boards. And
Okay.
being a JE aspirant, I think fellow JE aspirants would relate that your CBSE studies, I was a CBSE student, it takes a toll because you too focus on that competitive exam that you don't study for boards. मैं प्री बोर्ड्स में फेल हो रहा था. अब वहाँ पे आप 95% के ख्वाब देखोगे तो आ नहीं सकते. So then I got the bandwidth to just focus on CBSE, and then even my parents started nudging that okay, going abroad would give you great exposure in life. So yeah, that's how I ended up in Edinburgh.
And how, matlab, before that, like, how did you decide, or did your parents decide engineering for you? Like, did they
Oh
pick it
yes,
for you?
that was quite stereotypical. अब reason बताता हूँ क्यों. My full name is Ajitesh Gupta.
Good enough reason.
Yes, so my dad said कि बेटा कंप्यूटर साइंस का बहुत स्कोप है लाइफ में, भाई मतलब फ्यूचर सेट है, करो. करनी पड़ी. मैंने एक दिन बोल दिया मेरे को इकोनॉमिक्स करनी है. Like, no, I'm not proud of you.
ये
You
कौन
should
करता
do exactly. And he
Both of us are economic
really
grads. but-
sorry, but I love economics. But that being said, I did computer engineering, and होता क्या है कि when I went to Edinburgh, being very frank, I hated engineering, computer engineering precisely. And then one of my friends' father, this is another friend, he said to me कि if you excel in something that you don't like, think about what you will do in something that you really like.
Right.
So मैंने वो गांठ बांध ली कि I have to excel in this degree irrespective, and that changed my whole perspective. And because of those certain things in life, I just felt, nothing is impossible, and if you just excel in something that you don't like, you really thrive in what you like.
But it's great that you're picking up the negatives or the bad, things that happened to you or the reasonings that didn't really felt very justifiable back then into something that's positive now. Because back then we beat ourselves to many things, such as, our parents telling us to do certain things that we do not want to do. But looking back at it, you then, find the positives in that entire thing, which is great, I think, because it teaches you a lot about how to view things in life and to work towards things in a very positive manner, because I think that just makes the journey much, much easier in general.
No, absolutely. I think spot on. And I'll tell you, one doesn't have this perspective all their life.
Yeah.
When you're in that downer of life, you can't think very pragmatically.
For sure.
I cried a lot. But I tried identifying what makes my emotions flow a lot. So I love Bollywood. I love the songs. So, music helps my emotions flow very well. So the thing is, when you're vulnerable, you need to be more vulnerable. Like beat yourself. Like that's how I do it. It's not. I
Okay.
won't say like give this advice to anyone else. But let's say if I'm feeling bad, I'll try to understand why I'm feeling bad. What happens usually is we take the opposite stance. We try to be in a state of denial. So my only aim was not to be in a state of denial and just be observant that what is happening to me. And once I was cognizant of that, I was aware of what things were there which were bothering me. So once this realization was there, I really understood what I really want, what are my real expectations. And yeah, but it's a whole era of darkness, I would say. You cry a lot, you are really emotional, you don't eat well, and
Yeah.
but when you get out of that phase, it's the most beautiful thing, because tomorrow you won't face the same thing because you
Right.
understood how to overcome that.
Yeah, and you always know that okay, this is just a phase.
Yes.
Now you look back and you're like, yeah, if it happens to me again, I'll know it's just a phase and
Exactly.
I'll go
Absolutely.
get through it. Yeah, fair
Yeah.
enough. And then, how did you pivot from engineering to an MIM? What was your reason of doing it? Did you do something in the middle, or what was your motivation that led you to Imperial?
Okay. So straight out from my undergrad, I went to Imperial.
Okay.
No break. Um, there were multiple reasons. Number one reason is I wanted to learn about business. I wanted to be in the city of business, which is London. होता क्या है when I was in Edinburgh, it's in Scotland. So the aspirational city becomes London. That okay, we want to go there. Everyone wants to go to London.
Yeah.
So मैंने बोला कि कैसे जाए? मतलब masters करते हैं. That's number one. Number two is when I say like Chanakya has said this again, कि you're an average of 5 to 6 people, you surround yourself with the most. I also very adamantly believe that.
Yeah.
So I know that when I go to a place like Imperial, people call it networking, but I call it exposure. You're surrounded by people who are actually building things, who are actually coming from families who have built things. So they're the best role models in that time for you to learn what you want to do in life. So for me, I knew that Imperial and per se London would be that best place to get that exposure. And why do I want to get that exposure? I had the reason for that too. My father is a bureaucrat. I have a family of politicians as well, other bureaucrats as well. So that business acumen is ingrained because of culture that you have in your family. In our family, we do not have that.
Yeah.
So whatever I have learned is via my friends, and they've told me about their parents, how they've built things, grandparents, how they've built things. So I'm like, now, okay, I have that rough idea, but now let me start creating a funnel. And through, I think, theoretical knowledge, and using that theoretical knowledge, try implementing something which is practical in life. So that's how I wanted my life to, maneuver when I went to Imperial. But was वो thought था, and yeah, it did work well. And and I'm working. Crowd is doing well, so I think yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
I'm sure.
rolling.
But like, did you not think of maybe working for a year? Because that's the first thought most people have, and I think a lot of students who come to us are also confused. Ki, should we work for a year and then go for a
I mean, for
master's?
you already had the platform that you went to Edinburgh. You
Yeah.
could have easily targeted the London job market as
Easily,
well and
yes.
been in the
Exactly.
city of business with smart people.
Mhm.
But yeah, of course, the business mindset and that network wouldn't have been there because it's easy to get access to those people when you are in a business school. But apart from that, like what really made you feel sure about that versus probably also MBA in India for that matter?
Yeah. Great question. So इसके लिए I think I realized one thing what I don't want to do in life. So हुआ क्या एक दिन I was interning at this company called Alankit, and I was like it was my first day there, and I was like assigned a normal like tech team, JavaScript and all. We had to make something, and I was just part of that team. I was sitting there and I was like, the heck I'm doing here? And I got to know that I don't want to do this for sure in life. So हुआ क्या, जब तक मेरी एडिनबर्ग की डिग्री खत्म हुआ, आई डिडंट नो व्हाट आई वांटेड टू डू अ फुल टाइम जॉब इन ऑलरेडी. एंड मैं जानता था कंप्यूटर साइंस में मैं बिल्कुल नहीं कर सकता, बिकॉज इट मेड मी फील लाइक वर्क, लाइक आई एम डूइंग वर्क. ठीक है, मजबूरी होती है एक्सेट्रा, बट आई वाज लाइक वेयर इज द फन एस्पेक्ट इन इट. आई कुडंट फाइंड इट. सो एक दिमाग में थॉट था कि ये तो नहीं करना. फिर मास्टर्स क्या होता है ना, it gives you that bandwidth to think.
Yeah.
The thing is, you diversify into so many subjects in that one single year of masters, which was for me at Imperial. Masters in management, you learn about operations, you learn about finance, you learn about economics, organizational behavior, everything. So you get exposed to different fields, not in that much depth, but you get exposed to it. And then I was like, okay, now this is something which I like, that is
Yeah.
something which I like. And now full-time job, of course, thought hota hai, agar hum bahar gaye, you have to look at a good ROI of
Exactly.
the money that you put in. So yeah, I was doing a part-time job at Vector Capital, so I was earning some money. I got a full-time job there, and then I got into Blackstone too. So full-time job set thi, and I was about to join that, but then things changed
This
with
is
crowd.
after Imperial or after?
Imperial,
This is
after
after
Imperial, yeah.
Imperial.
And then crowd happened. So people call me stupid for that then. Called me then. Now they don't. But yeah, they're like, why did you leave such big names? I'm like, conviction थी एक thought था, एक belief था. And yeah, that's how it changed. So full time job, in simple words, I was about to do, but किस्मत ही कहीं और ले गई, तो I think I just didn't
But
get
I
the
think you have
opportunity.
really, trained yourself to truly follow your gut in multiple ways, which is very tough for many people to do. That many people say that the gut tells them to do a certain thing, but because of the many societal pressures or maybe financial restrictions, they just can't bet on that because they do not feel so strongly about that. So how do you get yourself to believe in your gut truly?
When you're at a certain age, like it's very phase driven. When you're 18, your gut is not that strong because you're not exposed. You just have a vague idea, you have not created depth. You're 20, okay, you have some depth. but you still can't follow the gut because society. I'll tell you one thing. It's a very fun thing to understand. The lives that are shaped, जो आज हमारी life shaped है, it's prima facie shaped by the society that we live in.
Yeah.
It's the basic essence of that. The countries are shaped because of the society it's been brought up in. There's a theory by Karl Marx. Like we started off with agrarian societies, we went to industrial, and now we are a service economy. But what it is that really like you love. So I think societal pressure is there. Society overpowers you because you yourself don't know what you really want to do. And when we talk about society, let's say the immediate pressure is from your parents. Like if you look at your parents nudge you to do something. Why do you do that? Because you're like, अगर मैंने खुद की करी, अगर मैं फेल हो गया तो मेरे को सुननी पड़ेगी. बट अगर पेरेंट्स की करी अगर नहीं चला तो दे विल स्टिल बी फाइन कि मैंने बोला तो कर लिया, ठीक है. बट one thing is there, gut feeling. If you have a very big conviction कि ये चलेगा, then I think कायनात में कोई भी फोर्स हो आपको डिफाइन नहीं कर सकती, आपकी गट को नहीं हटा सकती. जैसे प्यार होता है, जब किसी से प्यार होता है, देयर इज नो फोर्स विच कैन टेक दैट लव फ्रॉम यू, irrespective. You will fight the demons in the world for that love. And that's with work also, and that's with any gut feeling. So I think I want to correlate the love. Everyone has fallen in love with someone in their life. Relate
Do
that
not make assumptions. But continue.
somehow with anything, anyone. But that love, if compared with work, and if that's work which is love for you, I think that would change the whole game. So for me, crowd was that, because I really loved that. And फिर बात बन गई अपने आप.
But to add to that, I also feel one thing that we should acknowledge here is the privilege that we all have,
Yes.
right? Not everyone has the option of following their gut and going with the riskier option. That's true for the both of us, that's true for you as well here. So because of the support that our parents have given, or because of the platform that our parents have provided us in general, it is we feel like we have the option. Certain people, even if they want to do something, they need to kind of follow the most lucrative or the most mainstream path to give themselves that to get at least a base set for themselves, and then they can do something of this sort, right?
But I feel that your gut only gets to that stage when you're aware about all of those other things. Like if there are things stopping
No.
you.
I feel gut is something that tells you that okay, I want to do this is the right thing for me. But वो image, so for example, crowd immediately revenue या immediately lucrative नहीं होगा, right?
Right.
So you can't just jump into it, even if you know it can be very big. In your gut, you know it's the right thing and it can be very big, but you can't jump into it because of your circumstances. For example, if you have to provide for your family, you have to think about something which will give you immediate money or a more like a linear path. That's what I mean by we need to acknowledge the privilege also that has allowed us to take these paths that we've all taken.
I'll add one thing to that.
Yeah.
So, and I'll try to unravel the little intricacies of this privilege and the independence of choices that we have, let's say. So when crowd happened, so I took the leap to bring it to India. I came to India. सामान बस्ता बोरिया बांध के आ गए India. I'm like crowd को grow करते हैं. But my parents were under the assumption that I was preparing for civil services. I've never told that to anyone. So जब मैं आया इंडिया, so I was like, I'm doing both. Crowd भी कर रहा हूँ, मैं civil services भी कर रहा हूँ. कहने के लिए क्या है? I used to have meetings like for 6-7 hours. Like बहुत सारी meetings होती थी, strategize, etc., scaling. But at times one day my father opened the door and he was like, क्या कर रहे हो? I'm like, I'm crowd की meeting चल रही है. And then he like, पढ़ना मत तुम. But the thing is, once the societal expectation is there, parental expectation is there, you try to satisfy both the objectives. Like, I think for me, what worked really well was my parents were very satisfied with what I was doing for their expectations.
Which was
the civil services, which is mostly a sham. But on the side, I was doing something which was really my expectation of me, which was crowd. So how I balanced both of them was very important. So the people who you have around you, they might not agree with the expectations that you have. You won't have resonance. But build that until you have resonance there.
Yeah.
So once, let's say, crowd reached that multi-million-dollar status, when people started recognizing crowd, like out of nowhere. Then like my dad told one of my family friends that, oh, Ajitesh is doing this. Like, what's it called? Crowd. Oh, like I've heard of it. That small thing was actual big validation for him. And when you, let's say, a few features came in the newspaper, etc., that was again a validation. So these validations, when they build up, when they accrue, that actually creates resonance with the expectations that your parents have. Let's say if you're coming from a privileged background. But now, what does privilege give to you? It gives you freedom of choice, number one. There's definitely a financial stability for you to take risks. But you know what's the downside of that? That the expectations are too high. So with privilege, I think the art of balancing this, the art of being cognizant of that, the art of not being scared of the downside, I think that is the most difficult part of the privilege. It is a blessing of the God, the Almighty, whatever God anyone believes in. But this is how, let's say, I navigated through. And then, if of course, eventually when it, you know, goes through the roof, then you're like, it's all worth it at the end of the day. And then it is not just about privilege; it's just about the support.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, what I take away from this is ki, like I said, someone might not be able to throw themselves 100% into something, for example, crowd, but they can start like something, put in more hours and put in more
Yeah,
effort,
absolutely.
and while building that base, also
Balancing
doing
it.
something.
I
Yeah,
feel that whenever someone gets something in the gut, even if they cannot throw themselves fully towards
Yeah.
it, they still start
Agreed.
moving towards it.
Agreed.
And that freedom, anyone has at all the times. No matter how privileged you are, no matter what family background you're coming from. But if you truly believe in something, then you find a way to move towards it no matter what.
Yeah. I have a question for both of you.
Hmm.
So you guys were at LBS.
Hmm.
You guys on average are clocking 100k pounds jobs, right, in the biggest companies out there. And now you both take the decision to start this. And of course you must have heard, "Ye counselor ban raha." And then you start with that. But then I see how you guys have picked up in the past 1 year, and
Yeah.
it's scaling like anything.
Yeah.
So now let's take the question to you guys. How did that happen for you all?
I think what you just said about God, that was the same case that happened for me as well. That before I moved to LBS, like before I joined LBS, I knew that there's something wrong with the consulting industry in India, in which people are just too commercialized, do not know what they're talking about, have partnerships with the shittiest universities outside, and people are just agreeing to all of these things because when the lives or whenever they think that they do not have choices in India, they just feel that grass is always greener on the other side and they want to go outside no matter which university they're going to. And all of these things I thought were not working the right manner, because every student has the potential to go into a decent university, a good university. And for me, I was never the brightest of the students. I scored like a 3.34 out of a 4 CGPA. I went to NMIMS Bombay. So a very like average student vibe in that regard. And still I made it to LBS, which is ranked as number 2 in the world. And I thought that's something I have done right in terms of my storyline, the way I view things. And I think that belief just made me think that there's so many people who do not have the awareness about what it really takes to get into one of the top universities. And I do want to do that. And that I thought I'll do after 5-6 years when I've become, like a married person who wants to do something like, something very peaceful and nice. So that's what I thought while joining LBS. Then Vani and I always had these discussions throughout LBS in which you were like, there is a need for this in the market.
Right.
We need this. And we just, I think 1 week before graduating, I told her that, bro, if you'll do it, I'll do it. And we'll
It
do
was
it.
more like, yeah, you'll do it, I'll do it. Like,
Yeah. And we were just in my dorm room, Vani and I chilling in our pajamas, in a blanket.
She's like, अभी नहीं, एक हफ्ते बाद करते हैं, मेरे exams हैं. I'm like, let's just put it.
Let's
Let's
just
see
put it.
क्या होता है.
And he was like, no, if you want to do it, then do it right now. I was like, okay, let's do it. We made the logo out of ChatGPT. Just,
The name is ChatGPT.
Yeah.
The logo is from Wix.
Yeah. So all of these things we did. But we were still ethical enough to have a vision in mind. So that was very clear that what are we seeking to do.
Yeah.
And that we knew that we honestly want to make it such that any person who's working with us thinks that this is it. And they changed my life. That is it. And it started with that vision. For the first 2-3 months, for me, it was more like I wanted to come back to India. That was always the plan. I never wanted to be in London. Even when I was going to LBS, I was like, I want to come back the day I'm graduating. And it was either something of my own, or maybe a job in India, or my family business, anything, but I would figure it out once I'm back. That was the goal.
Right.
And UniAdvise started as a side project. And for Vani, it was
Yeah, for me, I knew I wanted to do something of my own, like Anya said, but I was not immediate. It was like, maybe eventually, 5-7
Right.
years, because again, family is into business, so you kind of have that
Hmm.
thought process or upbringing.
and
कि
exposure.
हाँ
Yeah.
कि बिजनेस ही करना है eventually, and like घर पे सिखाया है कि अपना बिजनेस होता है types. So I was like but I was someone who wanted to get into consulting,
Okay.
was really wanted to get that exposure, and because I think similar कि घर पे इतना business देखा है, तो that also kind of attracted me कि I want to see how this works, this
Yeah.
entire corporate world.
Yeah.
And then I was like full year LBS, I was working as
Okay.
hard as I could to look for a job, and did end up getting an ideal internship. In the end, they retracted it because of the economy being
Oh.
bad. So I was in a downer of my life.
Okay.
And then that's when Anna was
Anya
like,
thought.
"Ki, bro, let's
So
do
whatever
this
happens,
now.
happens
And
for
you're
a
the
reason.
best."
I'm telling you, this is
Yeah.
God giving us a sign that let's just do it.
Pure sanjog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think that timing worked out for us. And then we started this again, started off as something
Yeah.
on the side, just wanting to try it. So I knew business, I didn't know what kind of business. She had this idea, it's her
Okay.
idea, and she
Yeah.
had this in mind. So you're like, ठीक है, let's try it out. Didn't require a lot of capital also at that time. So like, करके
Yeah.
देखते हैं.
The only capitalist time.
So you're just like, yeah, and that is also major.
Biggest
But
thing.
yeah, we just started doing it on the side, and the response
But it was a
great.
lot of time, like a
Ye-
lot
I
of
agree.
time.
But it was very tough
Yeah.
initially.
Like we were taking calls throughout the day.
It was a 2 people company doing
Yeah.
everything. Everything.
Yeah.
Sales, marketing, operations, everything.
Yeah.
Hiring, everything was being done by us. And for a long time, it was just the 2 of us and just part-time people with us.
Hmm.
So managing those part-time people and the whole process, it was a lot of time. But
Yeah.
the results were great. The feedback was great. And
And the results shook us at times that, bro, I mean, it's genuinely not that tough.
Like,
you know, because
why are
we
people
knew that we
struggling?
wanted to do that, like, you know, somewhere in life. So we were always very aware about how that admissions work, what do they look at, and so on. And just truly caring about the students, I'm like, you know, I think it's as simple as that, that once you truly care about your clients, you just deliver accordingly, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we did. And it's only been uphill, touchwood. And yeah, it is a task to convince those uncles and aunties
Yeah.
that I am a counselor. And they're like, okay, job kyun nahi kari? And honestly, when you are, you know, confident within yourself and you know what you're working towards,
Yeah.
none of those questions bother you.
True,
You're
true.
just happy
but
in your own
like
zone.
I often tell Anna, whenever someone asks me now, recently I've changed from a study abroad counselor consultant to I help people with business school applications.
Whoa,
That's how I
okay.
put it. Sounds better.
Definitely.
Doesn't use the word
Yeah.
counselor in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
whole
And
answer.
those uncle aunties वो like बेटा क्यों बने हो काउंसलर वो ये बोले कि बेटा हमारे बेटे
Ah,
को
yeah.
लगवा
Exactly,
दो."
exactly that happens.
We have become that aunties on
Yes,
parties at
yes,
times in
yes.
which aunties are coming with the children
Yeah.
that समझाओ इसको क्या
Yes,
करना है
yes.
life. I'm like,
Guidance
I'm
of-
not that
guidance
person.
of- So how does it feel being called ma'am now? Like I'm assuming like
We don't
students do
stick to
call-
that. There are very, very few who do
Really?
that.
Oh, that's
Baki, we also
Oh, you don't
It's a
give
very
ma'am
friendly
vibes,
vibe that we
yeah.
give
yeah,
in
it's a
general. And we
mentor
don't-
vibe more
That's
than
good.
anything.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
just हमें अजीब लगता है जब कोई
Listen,
बोलता है because
honestly.
बहुत ही कम है, like very
And we
few.
also put us that way that, you know, we work on your applications as if it's our own. And we
Yeah.
are your friends more than mentors. So that's, you know, what we follow through as well in terms of how we
Yeah.
behave with them.
And that's good.
Yeah.
That's a,
Ma'am
that's a
vibe नहीं
rare
है.
thing. नहीं अच्छी बात
नहीं
है.
है.
बहुत अच्छी बात है.
I don't think कोई बोलता है.
But for you as well, right? I think it was a very similar thing that we were discussing prior to this podcast being shot, in which you said that crowd happening was the most random thing.
Absolutely.
In terms of you never planning for it, you were still being asked by your parents in terms of civil services as the end goal. So how really did you find crowd as the right option, and like how did this happen? Because it's major to, you know, being
Yeah.
26, 25
Just on 25.
25 and running like a company and co-founding a university. So how did all of this happen?
Okay, touching base with crowd right now. So what built that conviction? I think
Yeah.
number one was I already built 3 startups before. Two, like including Crowd 3. So first was when I was 17. I built a smart band for toddlers to prevent them from choking. I failed miserably in that. My co-founders didn't work well. That's why I had the notion that never co-found a company with your friends. But I think you guys are an exception, solid exception and role models here. But that being said, 17 did that, failed. My co-founders went to different countries, basically,
Okay.
Canada and then Australia. I was 20. I built this small plugin for any trader or investor to fetch real-time news of any trade that they're making in real time. So yeah, I sold that for good money. I got that money when I was 20, and मेरे लिए ठीक ठाक पैसा था वो. And what did I do? I was like, market में लगाते हैं, stock market में लगाते हैं, and I put the money there, and it did really well. And
Okay.
my money doubled or tripled. I sponsored my whole
Why are you
master's.
not doing that
No,
professionally?
it's because of COVID that.
COVID, yeah,
that
we
helped,
should recover.
right?
I'll come to that. So पैसा कमाया, लगा कि I have a golden touch कि भाई छू दूँ मैं वो तो सोना बन जाए. तो
Crowd.
no, crowd अभी नहीं आया है. So हाँ वैसे ironically yeah. But नहीं it's the team's credit.
UniAdvise?
No, नहीं
We'll give you a counseling session for you to touch UniAdvise as
no
well.
listen, crowd तो हमारी टीम की वजह से बना है, वो हमारी टीम का दिल है. I'm just a person who I will come to that later.
Yeah.
But हुआ क्या कि 20K में जब पैसा आया, when you double triple your money, you're sponsoring your own masters, पूरा रहना मैं खुद अपना sponsor कर रहा हूँ, तो you become pompous, young age man. वो अहम अगर आ गया उस early life में, it's the biggest poison in your life. So what happened was I started leveraging more. उस टाइम पे आप अगर फ्यूचर्स ट्रेड लेते हो तो 5 टाइम की लेवरेज कर सकते हो. लाख रुपए लगाया तो 5 लाख का ट्रेड ले सकता हूँ मैं. आई स्टार्टेड डूइंग दैट. रशिया वॉर केम इन and I lost a lot of money. But that really hit me because when I was starting out, पहले तो क्या था कि हर स्टॉक में आप पैसा लगाओ, हर स्टॉक बढ़ रहा था. But when the market isn't in a
Do it.
bullish run, then you need to be pragmatic, you need to be practical, you need to be very systematic with the approach that you're following. And there I lacked the advice from credible creators. And this was the void in my life कि भाई I need to solve this, but I didn't know how. सो ठीक है, सारा पैसा थोड़ा कम हुआ. देन आई स्टार्टेड इन्वेस्टिंग में ट्रेडिंग करना छोड़ दिया था. फिर क्या हुआ, वही मैसेज आता जोहानिस का, एंड आई स्टार्टेड विद क्राउड. एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट
Give
वन
us some context.
विद दिस, सो लिंक्डइन आई थिंक मेरी ज़िंदगी का सबसे प्यारा सोशल मीडिया
हमारे
प्लेटफॉर्म.
Mutual love.
So, I was started at Imperial, and Johannes was 1 year senior to me. He graduated 1 year before me, and he just sent me a LinkedIn request and a message saying that okay, building this platform called Crowd, which is trying to democratize financial discussions, which basically ranks creators based on their good quality articles and research. Let's meet. Your profile seems adapted to finance. I would love to seek your opinion. I'm like, okay, मिल लेते हैं. And met him and loved the idea. So this is how I got into.
Was he an Imperial
Yes.
student?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. He did.
MIM as well?
No,
or?
IEM, Innovation, Entrepreneurship
Okay.
and Management.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So he did that and met him, and then life was changed. But then I'll tell why Crowd's conviction was so strong. I was, कहते हैं ना, पीड़ित. I was a victim of the problem that Crowd was
Yeah.
solving. So that was one reason. So I was very fixated on finding the solution. I was pagal. I am pagal. And there's no one solution to it. There are 1,000 solutions. Can I tackle all of them? Yes. Hopefully. Number 2 is bhook, the hunger. आपके अंदर कितनी भूख है टू एक्चुअली फाइंड दैट सोल्यूशन. अगर ये 2 चीज़ आपके पास है, मजाले कोई चीज़ आपको रोक ले ज़िंदगी में. You don't care about what other people say. You don't care about what your friends say, your parents say. And what you guys did, what we did, I think cumulatively, is just that one thing. What is gut feeling? I think gut feeling is just that feeling which gives you the guts to take ownership of your own decisions, period.
Right.
अगर ये फेल हो गया, I am responsible for it. Gut feeling is only true for that. Gut feeling जहाँ नहीं है is just because you can't take ownership for your own decision, period. I could take the ownership कि I would solve this problem. I can build a team. And then January 2024, I came to India, started with just 2 interns, 0 budget we had for India. And I let me grow it. Somehow grew it. 7 months in, Crowd के platform पे 70% web traffic was just coming from India. 70%. With quarter the number of users that we had globally. We have already expanded in 6 countries in Europe. 15,000 20,000 लोगों की कम्युनिटी बना चुके ऑन ऑर्गेनिक बेसिस, नो परफॉर्मेंस मार्केटिंग, नो, नॉट अ सिंगल पेनी स्पेंट ऑन मार्केटिंग. अब इंडिया में इतनी ग्रोथ हुई, दैट्स नंबर वन. इस टाइम तक मैंने इंडिया की टीम 30+ लोगों तक कर दी थी. थर्ड वॉज स्टार्टेड गेटिंग इंटरेस्ट फ्रॉम इन्वेस्टर्स इन इंडिया. फोर्थ वॉज यूरोपियन साइड वॉज थोड़ा स्लोइंग डाउन. एंड फिफ्थ, got the accountability to lead the company in the in its entire capacity of the parent company, shifted to India, raised the funding, made it $1 million company. आज हमारी टीम में 70 लोग हैं. सो आई एम लाइक, ये
Wow.
अगर लोगों का कन्विक्शन नहीं होता, एंड आपको बताऊँ, पीपल से कि फाउंडर्स आर द वन हु बिल्ड द टीम्स. नो, ऑफ कोर्स दे सेट द विजन, दे सेट द बार, बट इट्स एक्चुअली द टीम. जो गैप था, मैं आपको बताऊँ, अक्टूबर 2024 से लेके February 2025, we didn't have money to pay our team, but people stayed with our team. Not a single
Wow.
person resigned, and they only stayed because of what we are building. So I'm like, अगर हमारे टीम के लोग इतना कन्विक्शन के साथ इसमें बिलीव कर सकते हैं, तो मेरी कन्विक्शन तो 1000 गुना ज़्यादा होनी चाहिए. So this is what fuels me, this is what empowers me, कि this is the right thing. And बाकी मजाल है कुछ भी आया, I don't care. It's like we have a team, we have a family, I call it crowd परिवार, and वही सारे लोग आज भी हमारे साथ हैं. So I'm like, अगर people are believing in our vision so much, then there might be something, there might be something bigger than which any one of us are realizing it today. And उस चीज़ का फल आज थोड़ा बहुत भुगते, when people say, okay, you're solving a big gap in the market, you
Right.
guys are operating in a blue ocean, it's something very different. I talk to CBRs, they say the same thing. But when all of this, and you know, it takes time, it takes patience. One can lose their patience when October में पैसा नहीं था,
Hmm.
team मतलब team was struggling, scaling was difficult. You have 10 different things to work at. You have to look at RBI guidelines, SEBI guidelines, you have to raise funding, you have to build a team, you have to build a product, you have to pivot the whole strategy from Europe to India. कैसे करोगे? बट वही एक थॉट, एक जज्बा, एक सोच हो गया.
What was the timeline like when he texted you on LinkedIn to
Fe-
to when you moved to India?
Feb 2023, that was the text I
That is,
received.
and you went for your masters in 2022
2022
September.
सितंबर, यस.
Right.
सो फेब में वो टेक्स्ट आया. फेब में मैं उससे मिला. 6 महीना हमने प्लेटफॉर्म बनाया, फंडिंग हमारी रेज हुई थी अक्टूबर ऑफ 2023. फन फैक्ट इज, आई लेफ्ट द जॉब दैट आई हैड, ब्लैकस्टोन एंड वेक्टर कैपिटल, बिफोर द फंडिंग केम इन. So that was just a very stupid move. I think it was not very thought of.
Did you like think too much about it, or was
No,
it an
no,
easy
no.
decision for you?
I didn't think too much. I just
Because
wanted
we
to
have
come to
all,
India.
like seen the UK job market. It's not easy,
It's not easy. Yeah.
right? So I'm sure that applying and getting that job in the first place must have required a lot of effort, right?
True. पता है आपको, like my life is very, ये कहते हैं ना, संजोग oriented, like linking of doors of how it happened in life. I don't know how it happened. I go by this saying, कामयाबी वो चिड़िया है उसी के छत पर बैठती है जो उसको ढूंढ नहीं रहा होता. So for me, jobs was just an avenue to get exposure into a company and just falling in love with the process of applying for jobs. And you know, I think I applied for only 4-5 jobs, that's it. I didn't apply
Okay.
for 30-40 companies, 50 companies.
Okay.
And I just got lucky there. But I don't know, I can't pinpoint the exact strategy, like, because I myself don't know what is the exact strategy.
But luck is helpless if you're not working towards
Yes,
it as well,
luck
right? So what do you
favors the
think worked
best.
out for you in terms of the actions that you took, in terms of job applications, LinkedIn outreach, talking to,
Yeah.
you know, like in terms of making the other person believe that I deserve to be a part of crowd. So
Yeah.
what was it that, you know, worked out for you? Like how do you plan these things
I'll
out?
give a very different answer, and I'm saying it from, like, मैं दो आंसर दूंगा. एक तो जो मैं दिल से बिलीव करता हूँ, और एक है जो शायद ऑडियंस बिलीव करे. फर्स्ट इज, माई लाइफ इज बिल्ट ऑन ब्लेसिंग्स ऑफ पीपल. वेक्टर कैपिटल, आई वॉज अ सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टर देयर फर्स्ट. आई डिड वर्क वेल, ठीक था, मतलब मेरी रिपोर्ट जो एंड में निकली, इट वॉज नाइस. माई लाइन मैनेजर अप्रिशिएटेड माई वर्क. आई लेफ्ट द जॉब. Then what happened was, I showcased my line manager the thought that I want to pivot into finance somehow, and I treated him as my mentor. And when you treat him as a mentor, I do not want anything in return from him. I just want his blessings, I just want his guidance in life, भला वो करियर के ओरिएंटेड हो या पर्सनल लाइफ हो, चाहे कुछ भी हो. सो आई वेंट टू हिम एट टाइम्स बियॉन्ड माई जॉब का टर्म टाइम, just to meet him, just to seek his blessings, that's it. And you know, because of this very small thing, he was aware about what was happening in my life, what I was thinking, etc. And you know, somehow Vector Capital mein there was a job which popped up for derivatives market analyst, and they're looking for someone in the tech background who had a tech background. So my luck was, being a computer engineer, worked at Vector Capital, I was a decent fit for them. So I joined that role, and I worked there for like 8 months then. That was the first reason. So I wouldn't have gotten that job if it was not just for the relationship that I built with that line manager, number one. Number two is, when I talk about other companies which I got into, I think I had a good friend circle there, so I was very aware of what openings were there, what are the certain hacks to get the right job, apply for the right job,
Correct.
etc. And I think just talking to people, and more so, watching interviews. So I love learning from people's experience who I can't meet personally. Like let's say if it's Blackstone's CEO, I can't meet him, but I look at his podcast, I look at his interview, and you just get to learn about that culture. Like they control the financial world right now, and like I want to be part of that company. And वो एक thought बन गया, and then I'll maneuver my whole strategy around that. So I applied there, got in, and like हो गया, job मिल
Okay,
गई.
so
Yeah.
to kind of summarize.
This is the first part.
Oh,
Then I'll
okay.
come to the
Okay, we can
structured
have
word.
both then.
Okay.
And then I can ask you
Okay.
my question.
So structured ways, yes. Why do you want to get a job? Financial stability is there. I want to, like, do I want to stay in UK? I was like, my answer was maybe. But then it was for me, a checklist कि मास्टर्स करिए तो जॉब लेके तो जाना ही है मिनिमम. बस वो एक थॉट था. एंड उसी के अराउंड द बेसिक्स, केस स्टडी इंटरव्यूज, फ्रेंड ग्रुप में we used to test each other. Third, being aware of the openings, applying, touching base with the HR person, meeting with them for coffee, LinkedIn पे वो मैसेज डालते थे. And yeah, all of that combined, पहला interview is the biggest thing. 90% applications drop by the
मेरे को
first
तो
interview.
हाँ ऐसे
Yeah.
सारा trauma आ रहा है.
So
I've done that for way too long.
yeah, so I was like, if there are 1,000 applications a company receives for just one position, and most of the applications have a direct correlation of the work that they have done, the marks they have got,
Yeah.
what sets you apart. किस्मत तो कह सकते हो, but how do you pinpoint that? You
Yeah.
can't pinpoint that. So you need side में थोड़े nudges to give you that extra edge. Be it whatever. You attended one of their events, you talked to the line manager, you mentioned one of the recruiting managers in your cover letter. These small things make the biggest difference.
sure.
And that is how the recall comes in. And yeah, I think God got lucky with that, and that's how things
Yeah.
built. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you were quite lucky because I was there the same year when I was hunting for a job, and that was tough.
Daunting,
Like
yeah.
that was very tough, honestly. But I think that is supposed to be one of the worst years because we've had few students go later. Like, of course, we've helped students for a couple of years after that as well, and they've been doing better. Like from whatever we have heard, and things are getting better. So that's great. But yeah, I think from. So, do you think there was something in particular that you got at Imperial that you would not have gotten maybe at a tier 2 school that kind of helped you in this entire process? Of course, crowd is the biggest thing that's come out of it for you.
Yes.
But I'm talking about the job
Just
hunt in
Imperial, yeah.
particular.
Okay. What did Imperial give me? I think it was access, number one. What is the real differentiator between a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 college? I think tier 1 college gives you that first meeting easily. That's it. Like if I, let's say, reach out to a, let's say, businessman, and I'm like, okay, I want to meet you to learn from your experience. I am studying at Imperial.
Yeah.
That
for
brand
sure.
name is there. They'll just give me the meeting because of the brand name. Rest फिर मेरी काबिलियत है कि अगर मैं उनको convince कर सकूं कि okay, the time is not wasted for them. So I think any tier 1 college gives you that first thing because that's a network. You're an average of 5 to 6 people you're around with the most. So that's why tier 1 colleges are most sought after. They have people going to places. Look at Oxford's PPE program. People are becoming, I think 90% of the prime ministers which are made in UK, 90% of UK prime ministers are coming from that degree, that one single degree.
Yeah.
Why? It's just the network that they have. So
Yeah.
anyone who is right now, if let's say I am doing the PPE program, I know that 20 years down,
Yeah.
there would be a prime minister of UK from
Who
that
would be my
course.
friend.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the access. So
Yeah.
tier 1 college ka benefit is number one, access. It helps you land that first meeting. But once you land that first meeting, I think subsequent to that, it's just you who takes it forward. So yeah, I would say that's one big difference which happens when you go to a tier 1 college. Number two is the people who you're around with. So I was mentioning about the PPE program. So, you know what group that you have right now, what will they do 20 years later? So that access to network becomes a very big thing, and you're just an average of 5 to 6 people you're around with the most. So that experience, that exposure, you get it from there. So that's the second thing. And third is, you know, some lineage. आई वुड से कि अब अगर मान लो मेरी फ्यूचर जनरेशन जब होती है तो अगर मैं अपने बच्चे को बोलूँ कि लिसन यू हैव टू अप्लाई टू इम्पीरियल, आई थिंक दैट वुड डू सम मेक इट लिटिल डिफरेंस.
A lot of difference, I think. If you mention that my dad is from LBS and I want to go to LBS, I think it will be a game changer.
Yeah, so like कि अब फ्यूचर जनरेशन के बारे में सोच लो, तो ये तीसरी चीज़ हो गई. एंड चौथी इज़ you know, the ecosystem that's built around these tier 1 colleges, or any college per se. I would not segregate it with specific tiers, but some colleges are known for some particular subjects, some are not known for some subjects. But it's just that how you leverage all of that. I think for a college which is more established, they just have diversity of options to explore. There are a lot of more societies, there are a lot of more people who start taking new initiatives. So yeah, I think around all of that, I think that's the biggest key differentiator between a tier 1 and a tier 2 college.
And do you think right now, while you run a crowd, the brand name of Imperial is still helping you in multiple ways?
I guess so. मैंने इंट्रोडक्शन में ही बोला मैं इम्पीरियल से हूँ, आई थिंक इसी वजह से हम यहाँ बैठे हैं. But no, that being said, I think now we have come to a stage where Imperial brand doesn't matter a lot, but it matters where the alumni is common. So there, let's say if you're leveraging a business partnership, then Imperial bye
Trust hota hai.
Exactly.
Correct.
So and you know what is this relatability? The pure relatability is of college for the upper level, but it's mostly for experiences. Like, okay, the business cafe is an experience. Oh, that particular building in Imperial is an experience. So that cumulative experience sharing becomes a thing to talk about. And it's not just for colleges. Like, if we are able to bond here, it's not because we are bonding over Imperial, we are bonding over shared experience of our backgrounds, of our experiences. So college is just a pehlu chota sa of building that relatability. But answering your question simply, my life would not have been possible right now if it was not for Imperial, because Johannes would not have texted me. I think that's the number one reason. Number two reason is it gives you access still. Number three reason is we are building crowd in India, but we have some third party or like business partnerships in Europe. So when you go to European businesses and ask for a certain partnership, they think about what background do you have? Is it purely in India? So for me, luckily, I had it in UK. So they think, okay, now they are aware of how the businesses function there, how the culture works there. So that relatability happens, that trust builds there. But I don't think it's a limitation for anyone who's starting their business purely in India who has a background in India. It just has helped me marginally here. So I'll just put it out there.
And I think when we talk about, like you just spoke about alumni being at certain places, it's more like if you go to a tier 1 school, for example, because the crowd is filtered, you tend to, like, the chances of having someone more successful around you is a little higher, right? And then when you go to those, for example, when you're looking for a partnership, or in our case, if we need any sort of help, we know we have LBS alumni in established places who can help us. And again, that relatability and that trust kind of pushes you through those circumstances. I think one important factor is just the filter that these schools have. They tend to filter out people in a way that, I don't know, there's of course not a 100% direct correlation, but there is some correlation in terms of you doing well in life.
Definitely, I would not deny that. But of course, whoever is watching this, I think if anyone is, let's say, from a college which, let's say, is not their target college, because I think tiers subjectivity and objectivity is different for different people. So yeah, I think like for people like Edinburgh consider a tier 1 college to some people, consider a tier 2 college for some people. Not a tier 2, it's like top 20 globally. But irrespective of computer science is very sought after. But जब India आते थे, people used to ask, बेटा कहाँ पढ़ रहे हो? I was like,
not
uncle, not IIT, like University of Edinburgh. Like, बेटा Edinburgh कहाँ है? Uncle Scotland? Like Uncle England के ऊपर है, ठीक है. So but that being said, so the popularity usually is directly correlated with the tierness of the college, but ideally
it shouldn't be that.
I
agree.
Yes,
for sure, that makes a lot of sense. Now maybe we can talk a little bit about where crowd is at and what's your vision with it? Where do you
Okay.
see where do you see it going, and
Okay.
how can it help people like me who are not that financially aware and are just beginning to save some money?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for asking the question. So, Crowd, we pose it ourselves as a merit-based social media platform for investors and traders. So, what is this merit word here? So, merit-based social media platform is not so common. Merit is basically the content that you post. There's some vetting process to put you up. So basically, visibility is directly given to well researched, well articulated articles or researches. In finance industry, this is too noisy. You look at Telegram, you look at WhatsApp, stock tips, बथेरी आ रही हैं platforms पे. Now we want to democratize that. The thing is, we want the reader to find the information they want to find as easily as possible. Number one. How do we do that? We leverage AI to understand the sentiment of the user. What are they liking more? What are they following more? We try to do a correlation of their sentiment, and we throw articles, throw content at them, and we test it if they like it or not. That's
Hmm.
number one. Number two, the stock advice, if it comes on a platform, it is only given by a SEBI RA. If any random person comes who's non SEBI RA gives off an advice, it is not legal in India. So we allow only that on our platform. So a reader who comes on the platform, they're rest assured that whatever I'm getting, it's backed by credibility. And number two, you have a clear visibility of what is the score, what is the title of that creator. Is it an expert, beginner, or a novice, or an emerging analyst?
One question there.
Yes.
So I think the first point is valid for every social media platform, right? They tend to
Yeah.
push what people are liking.
Exactly.
That's true for Instagram. I'm sure TikTok as well. But that does not always mean what people are liking is what's correct or
True.
credible. So I'm sure both these points that you have mentioned could be contradicting at times, right? What people are enjoying is not always the right thing, or it's not always the credible thing. So how do you deal with that?
It's a great question. See, mostly in the finance industry, people want quality. Or whatever they're liking, we give great quality content to them. How do we do that? So we have our newsroom team, which is basically focusing on the trends that people are trying to like these days. So it is already vetted. We have financial analysts who are NISM certified, who are even SEBI RAs, who have prominent following in LinkedIn, who are actually working for HSBC as well. Like, they post on LinkedIn, we take their content with their permission, and they are very happy to post on our platform. So we build the network through that, so that we have plethora of content in segments that people are trying to like these days. So that's how we push it. And we have our AI. So basically, our USP is our AI. So with AI, we basically identify the articulation. We give a score to each article. So that is basically how good the article is, how good the content is, and that's how we push it. So we do not push bad quality content ever. So that doesn't get even impressions. So anyone on our platform, if they have knowledge, if they have good articulation powers, they can rise up to the ranks and become visible. And right now, if we talk about the stage of crowd, so 2023 October, we raised our first round from Hexa in Europe, prominent fund there. Then May of this year, we raised our second round from 12 investors. In total, we have 24 investors in our company. We achieved a multi-million-dollar status, and we are raising another round in the next 3 months. So we are scaling. We have around 500 users coming on our platform every single day.
Wow.
We have built a community of around 20,000 plus people just in India, and features are coming in and out. We also host this event called Arthavad. So what is lacking in the market these days is a raw financial advice, raw financial wisdom, I would call it. So we bring in prominent speakers from different industries, and we will just host the event, and people just hear them, and that's how we try to provide value to people. And it's like off product community building. We have been revenue making now, and the question that you asked about where do I see crowd going, see, an investment journey starts with gathering the right information to make the investment. First step is that we are tackling this right now. It is pure content driven, it is pure knowledge driven, and it is pure visibility grant. Like, we grant visibility to the highest credible creators. That is what we are focusing on. Once we solve that, we want to get into the brokerage service, which we'll get into next year. Because once you have the knowledge, what do? You make the investment. Right now, they'll go to other platforms, but then we want people to have the independence of making the transaction on our platform. That is there. But the cycle doesn't stop. Investment journey starts when you make the first investment. then you have to optimize your portfolio. You have to square off at the right time. You have to average it at the right time. You have to analyze the trends. So what we'll do is, at the cheapest cost of 99 rupees, we can help you get your portfolios analyzed by a SEBI RA, who would otherwise take lakhs of rupees. That's our job to provide you at that cost. And then after the investment, the portfolio that you make will be properly optimized by the person who we have. That's the human touch. And number two, we are training our AI every single day to help you with robo advisory. So there'll be AI also advising you on your portfolio. So this is the third part. And when these three things link, information, investing, and optimization, that is the ecosystem of finance. That's the ecosystem of
That
investments.
sounds super cool. I'll need that. And I think the third part is my favorite. And maybe you can also, just a random thought, maybe you can also gamify the third part where
Yeah.
you like give people some credit or some brownie points
Yeah.
for like taking a step towards optimizing there. Like I would enjoy a game
Yeah.
where I'm playing with my portfolio and
Like a mock stock.
yeah,
Yeah.
or like just to teach them how to kind of teaching
Absolutely.
education
Education
also,
at tech side,
financial
yeah. We've
education in
got
terms
multiple
of
requests for ed
gamifying
tech,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, I would love that.
And we're just launching our advisory services.
Okay.
So
Like
yeah.
a PMS.
Yeah, so yeah, people are really dying to have this service. The reason is because we have gauged the sentiment of people. We know what people are thinking. So we're trying to feed this advisory with the with the trends that we see in the market. So yeah, it'll be launched next month.
So if I ask you what's the ideal, like clientage of crowd essentially, like who can use crowd? What will be your answer be?
I think any average Indian person.
Okay.
Reason is our country is so beautiful in every way possible that a person who is now 12 or 13 years old, that kid is asking, Mummy, Papa, how can I invest?
Yeah.
Have you invested in Reliance?
Yeah, I think
Reliance,
after COVID, everyone wants to
exactly.
invest.
So for me, like when I talk about target market, people say, oh, people with disposable income, etc. No. Platform, if you're making crowd, what does crowd stand for? It means a collective entity. And
Right.
that collective entity should encapsulate all the people that we have in our country, irrespective of what their age is, irrespective of what their background is, irrespective of what their knowledge in finance is. If we can make a platform which gives value in terms of information to any person, that is our biggest win. So that would be my most ideal target market, which is entire India. We have 10 crore retail accounts in India. 5 lakh retail accounts are added every single year. We are growing like anything. We are going to be Viksit, developed country by 2047. And yet this industry is so non-democratized that it is a big gap, and we are trying to solve it. And this is a problem which is faced by everyone. Like if you go to any household where, let's say, if you look at a family which has both the working parents, they have some disposable income. They do not know where to invest. They just are, of course, they work day in and day out to earn that money. But if their money goes into an investment because of some fad, then they lose the money, and then they lose the trust, because investing behavior is directly correlated with the time when you invest. So I mentioned that when I was 20, I invested in the first stock. I earned a lot of money, but if I had invested when I was in 2008 crisis, I would have lost all the money. That would have demotivated me to invest ever again. That's a trauma that I would have.
Right.
So हमारा काम यही है, एक इंसान को वाकिफ करना कि what can be the right information. That's it. We just are that validators.
Makes a lot of sense because talking from personal experience, I do follow some financial influencers on Instagram, but I just find it so hard to trust them. Like I watch it, but I don't act on it at all. But on the other hand, since LinkedIn is considered a little more credible, वहाँ पे मैं एक दो को follow करी हूँ, तो I still believe
Yeah.
what they're saying. But Instagram, I don't want to believe
Yeah.
it. But I think hence a platform like this can be very helpful because it might help someone like me
Yeah.
who's still learning to trust people on there
Yeah.
and maybe
And ये तो आप जो LBS से पढ़ के आए हो, you are
Yeah.
very well educated. People here have very less disposable income. They have just done like a graduation in India. Like what about them? Then the language barrier comes in. Let's say if one knows English, most of the reports done by these big finance firms are in English. They use those finance
Right.
jargons which an average person cannot understand.
sure.
So our aim is also to scale it in every regional language. Like we want, if a JP Morgan report in English is there, we can make a person in, let's say, Kerala read it in a small town who doesn't know a single jargon word,
Wow.
who doesn't know even ROI.
Super cool.
That's what we want to do, and that's the accessibility, because right now it's too concentrated in few regions.
Makes
And what if
sense.
we make it aware? That is something which will blast the or like scale the investing market like anything. That's actual democratization.
Super cool. This is
Yeah.
very interesting, and I'm very excited for you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think, is there anything else you would want to say before we bring this to an end?
Okay, I think first of all, it's been an honor. Thank you so much, Anya and Vani, for having me here. I always see, I think I don't deserve this seat. I'm just here to share my experience of whatever I've done in life. I think one thing which I would say is there was a conversation about parents, where there are certain stereotypes which you're brought up with, you follow that.
Right.
A lot of societal expectation is there. Everyone has that,
Correct.
right? But you know, जो हितैषी होते हैं आपकी ज़िंदगी में, who are your well wishers, there are very few in your life. I think identifying them is the most important thing, number one. Number two is, what I've realized is parents might make bad decisions or wrong decisions for you, but their intentions are never wrong. So whatever they do, they say, they have a well-wishing thought for you always, irrespective. They're the only ones who have that for you in your life. So one doesn't realize that. My dad says that you'll realize the value of a father when you don't have a father,
Or when you have your own kid?
when you have your own kid. So, you know, just being cognizant of that, of what values they have inculcated, what is your conditioning, what you have to take forward to the next generation, that is something which you have to be aware of consciously. That is the second thing. Third thing is, I think it's very subjective to me, but I have, like, I don't say that I'm the smartest kid. I was never the smartest kid. Average kid, I mentioned I was failing in pre-boards. Then किस्मत कहीं लेके जाए आपको पता भी नहीं है. You know, I say चरित्र, आशीर्वाद और आपकी भक्ति, ये तीन चीज़ें हैं जो आपकी ज़िंदगी पलट सकता है. Charitra, trust. People ask me, how did you raise funds? Like you asked me the question, how did I raise funds when I was so young, 24, and doing all of that? I think one thing was there, I was true to myself. I wasn't creating a facade. Like if things were wrong, I was transparent in telling that this is wrong. I think investors, when they put money in a startup at a very early stage, they're not putting money in the startup's idea. They're betting
Yeah.
on the founder. So one of our investors said that we are playing a bet on you, not the company. We kind of know, let's say the company might not run well, but we are trusting the founder that he would make it run well.
Yeah.
That would only come with character.
One question here,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you. I've been holding that back for a while. I thought I'll ask you after this show. But did coming from Imperial help you in raising funds in any way?
Just landing the first meeting again, but no, it didn't.
Okay.
Because when the questions comes in, that's purely how you make
How
business out
you-
of a
how
company.
you sell
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah.
Fair enough.
But yes, so first was character. Stay true to yourself. Do not lie to anyone. Investors सूंघ के बता देंगे कि आप किस intention के साथ पैसा raise कर रहे हो. That is number one. Number two is your आशीर्वाद. So my life, I take two people's name always, Dr. Ritesh Malik and Vishesh Mathur. They both are my mentors. I was interning at Innovate, and Dr. Ritesh Malik sold his company to Oyo. He's a very prominent entrepreneur. Everyone knows him. So you know, when I got done with the internship, like I used to come to India whenever I could. I used to take like 10 minutes of his time just to seek his blessings and just you know, take some gyan, like whatever he was willing to share. Nothing I wanted in return, just to seek his blessings. किस्मत का संजोग देखो कि 2022 I went Imperial से just पहले and met him, and he said, Ajitesh, you should bring crowd to India. I think this is much needed. That one line planted the seed in my head that I can bring crowd to India. Mentors वो लोग होते हैं जो आपको अपनी औकात से बड़े सपने दिखा सकते हैं, and that is one thing which changed my life. And if he hadn't said it then, maybe I would have worked at crowd like in Europe, who knows.
Yeah.
So that soch he planted in me. Soch changes the whole thing, and that would not have come if I didn't have the ashirwad of people like him and my other mentors. So that is ashirwad. Then third is your bhakti. So you know, when I talk about bhakti, be it any god you believe in, I think that true shraddha has to be there for a deity which is above you, which you don't know of. So it's just certain principles you can follow, it's certain beliefs that you have in life. It can be anything, but I think that has changed my life. And fourth and fifth thing, I think they are even more important, which is your physical health and your mental health. Because when people work when they're young, they take advantage of their health, because your health can cope up very fast with all the trash that you eat or you drink, but eventually it will take a toll. So if you have your physical health with you, if you have your mental health with you, listen, no force in this world can take you down, be it any challenge. Physical health, mental health, your character, your devotion, and your आशीर्वाद, ये सब चीज़ अगर एक साथ है आपके पास, this is, I feel, something which is the most brilliant package ever you can have.
And this is something that everyone can do for
Yeah.
themselves.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That is very, very great to know. You had a lot of GAN to give. And
No, I don't have any
But
gyan.
we really appreciate
Yeah.
it. I think I learned
Yeah.
so much during this whole conversation. So, no, and lovely, lovely speaking to you. Thank you so much for your
Honored.
time.
Thank you so
And
much.
to anyone who's watching this podcast, if you want to invest, save, invest, crowd. If you want to go for a master's, undergrad, deferred MBA, UniAdvise. As simple as that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's an honor.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.